Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Send in your comments via the WhatsApp number 0550-585832. You can also join the conversation on social media using the hashtag Breakfast Daily. It's time to talk relationships, and this morning we're looking at how to keep the romance alive while the kids or the children are at home. Remember, we're not in normal times. COVID-19 is here, and so mostly the children will be at home. Most parents are also working from home, and so how do we keep the romance alive within this period? We have a Famlife advocate, a counselor, who is also a panelist on Famlife on Citi FM, joining us to do justice to this topic. Mr. Michael Mensah. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
How are you feeling this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. Fridays are always good times.
Yeah, I know. So let's start it off. How important is it to keep the romance alive in a relationship?
You know, romance is the spark plug of the vehicle of the relationship.
Yeah.
And so when the romance is not alive, that connectedness is strained. And so things become stale and things are just done mechanically.
Yeah.
So romance is very, very important in any marital relationship, because that is what keeps the chemistry, the bonding, and the communication functioning properly.
Yeah, but how do you tell that this romance or the level of romance is dwindling or is even absent at a point?
We can talk about the level of interaction, or what I would like to confirm. My wife is the one who came up with that word, inner space.
Okay.
The degree to which you overlap. So where things just get caught up in the normal structure and the level of interaction physically, emotionally, and even through technology is reduced, then you know that your romance level is low.
Okay, and then you need to, of course...
you need to show it up.
Okay, but let's look at couples who have kids. Now that the kids are mostly at home,
yes.
How do they keep this romance alive? Or if it's absent, how do they revive it?
Wonderful. You know, family is key, and family is a crucible within which society is nurtured.
Yeah. Because
every society is made up of families. So the children being home, some see it as a negative thing, but it can also be a time for family reunion and family bonding. Yeah. So the first thing is that let the children feel a part of the family. Then the next thing, romance has two dimensions. The one that is open and that the children can even learn from, and the one that is for the two, the special connectedness. So with the children at home, what one can do, you know, is to find ways that you can connect. There are two types of people generally. We have the task people, and then you have the relationship people. For task people, they are more work-oriented, and their focus is meeting targets and getting things done. So some of them, whether male or female, but largely the males, will not naturally be romantic and find expression for showing affection and telling you, I love you, honey, and how's your day been, did you sleep well? But they must begin to see it as a project, because they are good at handling projects, and begin to connect. For the relationship people, that's normal and more natural for them. They will say, how are you? I'm heard of cases where some wives send their husbands text, did you get to work safely? How are you doing? Thinking about you. And for the guys who are task-oriented, they get upset. So that kills the romance. Exactly. So the first thing is that you must find simple, creative, and nice ways to connect. But you must be minded of who your spouse is. Because if your spouse is a task person and not a relationship person, the romantic overtures may rather put them off. Yeah. But when you get to understand the dynamics properly, then you will not do too much that would offend them. But the little you do would rather connect you better to them. Yeah. And for those who are also task connected or task-oriented people, they also need to begin to appreciate the fact that life is about the connectedness. And so you don't just get into the regime of work, and achievement, and live the connectedness with your spouse. So they also must show reciprocity by responding to the romantic gestures that their spouses make through text messages, through little conversations, through chats, through going for strolls. All those are forms that connect you. And being open one to the other.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned the types of people we have. So I'm thinking that for the task-oriented people, at what point do you cut off or pause so the romance doesn't become overbearing?
Yes, so the first thing is that you must know yourself, you the individual, and you must know your spouse. So where the spouse is a task kind, you need to be kind of suggestive to begin with, because most of them are often switched off. Once everything is in place, they think we are romantic. But romance is the quiet connectedness. And so the first thing is that you must know the kind of spouse you have. Then secondly, you must draw them in. So the drawing in is, for instance, you write a note and you put it on the side of his bed or her bed. You know, people often think that it's only men who are unromantic. But like I said, some task-oriented women are unromantic.
Unromantic as well.
So they just put everything in a box. So you put the note, maybe where he or she sleeps. I love you. It's great being connected to you. Just something simple, and then what's your response? They may say thank you. If they don't, put it maybe in front of their wardrobe door. But don't do it too much, you know, because anything that you are building, a romance, just like friendship, cannot be contrived. You can't force it. So you must grow it naturally. You take baby steps, and then you increase it as you go. So start from something like that, little by little, and then try and get feedback. When you see the person's posturing is not positive, or you're not getting the reciprocity you need, talk about it. Because romance also comes with communication. So discuss that, look, sweetheart, I need you to make time for me. Or I feel happy when I send you a message at work, that you just take time to just say, oh, thank you, or I'm good. Give me feedback. So romance, drawing in the task people, is one step at a time. Communication, and also being sensitive to how they respond to your overtures.
Awesome. Are there types of romance? I'm asking because usually there's that confusion that when you think you're showing affection and then it's misconstrued to be romance. Is it the same thing? Showing affection, is it same as being romantic?
You see, affection and romance is for those who are connected, whether in marriage or in a committed relationship. But affection can be in marriage and also can be to other platonic friends. So affection is the expression of goodwill, letting the person know you genuinely care. Romance is beyond that. Romance has that sensual and sexual connotation, because a romantic relationship is something that goes beyond just affection. So there's a clear distinction. And so once you choose to be affectionate, it is good, because it will be a base on which your romantic life will build on. You can't be inconsiderate and then suddenly want to be also expressive, I love you. And then you love the person and then you are blunt, you are disrespectful. No, an affectionate person will be respectful, will be considerate, will have a listening ear. So affection is important, but it's different from romance, because romance is more to do with a higher level of physical and emotional intimacy.
Okay, so for those who interpret romance to be dinners, taking you out for a walk on the beach and all that, now we're not in normal times because of COVID-19. Also, we have the kids at home. How does this play out? How do we keep that fire still burning? So from the little to the big things, you can have a candlelit dinner at home, just the two of you. And where would the kids be? You see, that's why I'm saying that most often parents are not teaching their children how to be romantic. So you can have one that is a family dinner, all of you together with the kids. Then you tell them, not too long ago, I passed by a place and I was telling my kids, hey guys, this is where I heard this about your mom. You get me? This is where this happened. That is how you are even teaching the next generation of your children what it means to be romantic. But oftentimes, people think that romance is so sacrosanct that the children cannot be a part of it. You can give her a peck in their presence. That's romantic. And I tell my children that, look, you can't give a girl a kiss because you're not married to her. You can give people a peck. So when I'm doing that, then they all then take shots and stuff, for the fun of it. So that's one way of drawing them in, to let them know that, look, dad and mom can do these things. And you are not showing, displaying serious public affection. You get me? So bring the children in. The next one is that once they are in it, once you do one for them, general as a family, they say, look, today is mom and dad's special day.
this dinner is for mom and dad. So you guys, you've had your meal, allow us. You can even have it in your bedroom. You can watch a movie together.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just about being creative. But the main thing is that romance often is what is not just said, but what is also done. You know, it's been said that communication is 55% posture, 38% tone, and only 7% words. So your non-verbal moves, how you show respect, affection, how you connect with the person, all adds to your romantic communication and raises a bar for you to remain connected. But if in the morning, good morning, no response. Did you sleep well? No response. You're already tuned off. When the person now tries to get to you later, or you come home in the evening and say, let's have dinner, or let's go out for a walk, would they be willing to? No. Unless they've learned to forgive you. So the key element in any effective romance connection is communication, is consideration, that's mutual respect, and then being creative. So you can go out for the normal dinners. You can go for a stroll in the evening. You can go for a drive, park somewhere, buy some ice cream or something if you like, and then just chat. You know, that's connectedness is something that can, like I said earlier, cannot be forced. So as you are just talking about little nothings, then you see that you are laughing, you are reminiscing. Then the bonding is coming up, and that will lead to other wonderful things.
Yeah.
You get me? Yeah.
So let's look at that of single parents.
Yes.
But with kids at home. You might have a partner who necessarily doesn't stay with you at home. Upon visits, how do you do all this?
The children often see more than we think they do. So one key element is to have a conversation with the children. This is my friend, or this is somebody that I like. And so when you see Uncle so-and-so or Auntie so-and-so in the house, give her the respect, and she's a social friend to me. Then when the person comes, the person must warm himself or herself into the environment. You just don't come and talk to mommy or daddy and then leave the children or scold them. So he or she must connect to the children first. If you want to have a fruitfully romantic experience, the children must feel a part of the connection. And once they feel a part of it, when you come and say, okay, mommy and okay, guys, stay indoors. We are sitting out having a conversation. They'll come running around. But you can connect. You can play a game together, just the two of you, to connect. You can play a game with all the children. What happens is that as you all are laughing and having fun, you release the happy hormones. And what that does is that it makes everybody lighter. And so after you want to go aside and have your closer interactions, the children are already excited. They would not as much try to come in between because they realize that, we are part already of these people. And so why should we frustrate their efforts?
Right. Now, with the kids at home, obviously it will increase our responsibility or our duties at home and limit our time together as partners. So how do we draw the line so that perhaps later in the night when I am fatigued is when you want to show that romance? How do we draw the line so that, like I said earlier, it doesn't become overbearing on the other partner?
I remember once when we got married early, my wife is the kind who, by late evening, she's all tired and needs to go to bed. I'm rather the one who goes late into the night.
Okay.
And so I remember we had a conversation with Richard Crabb, one of these wonderful marriage counselors, and said, Michael, it's similar with my wife. So we do the dawn connections. All you need to do is to schedule. I mean, that's why communication is important. And open and sincere communication. If you see that maybe the woman is keeping home, cooking meals, making sure the children are doing stuff, and so she's worn out, and the evenings are not okay for her, you can try the dawn. You can try afternoon if your work schedule allows. So the main thing is that you must be creative, but you must also be considerate. But when you think that it must be when you want it or the way you want it only, then there will be a disconnect. And so already you start on the note of conflict. But where you are appreciative of the fact that with the children at home, the workload has increased. So there are also two things. The second thing is that you must also be supportive, particularly for the men. Though largely women do that. There are cases where it's the men who are doing, the women are doing nothing. But in the case where mostly the women who are doing, you, the husband, must be supportive. Help with the chores, help if they have school assignments or the online help, so that the burden is reduced. Then that will free the person's mind. And the women are creatures of emotion, and they are more relational. So when they are fatigued and they are worn out, they cannot just respond the way they should. So if you support them, that alone can be a romantic gesture. You're washing the dishes together and laughing. It stirs up wonderful feelings that can benefit and be mutual to the two of you. So I think that the whole posture is a posture of support. There's a posture of creativity, and then the posture of communication, sincere communication, where you look at the issues, the load, and then you find a balance that suits you very well, and you'll be good to go.
I agree, but how do we bring the children into all this? I'm talking family romance now.
Yes.
How do we rope the children into all this?
So you can play games. That's one. Depending on the age of the children to matter. Some families have started early, so they already have the bond. Yeah. Some families have not. Like my big son would just come and put his hand around his mom and say, "Hey, my biggest girlfriend."
Yeah.
Because from infancy, that's how we've been. We are a huggy family. We are touching. Some families are not, and you know, that's what we call the 5 love languages that Gary Chapman developed. He spoke about receiving of gifts, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, and then words of affirmation. Right. So everybody has what makes them tick. So even in trying to bring the children in and in trying to deal with one another, you need to know what kind of connection your spouse responds to. So if her own is quality time, in the romantic time, you can have a family time. You are watching a movie, you are playing Ludo or Wari or something, you can create your own game. You are kicking the ball, and if you have a compound, or playing basketball, all those things, they look like they are fun games, but they end up bonding you. And then from the bond, you can have all these wonderful romantic expressions, particularly for the couple. But then you see, when the love is mutual, and there's love all around, it's easy to spread it to the children, and easy for the two to share it between themselves. So that's what I would say, that be creative with the children, draw them, let them feel loved, respected, let them know that love and family is important, and then let them know that there are some things that are reserved for those who are in a committed relationship or who are married. Right. And then that will also feed into the training you are giving them. So by the time they are adults, they understand the responsibility that goes with romance and where it can be expressed and where it cannot.
Great. Now let's talk about an unresponsive partner.
Yes.
Say I'm a sucker for romance. I keep doing it, but then I don't get the response that will urge me on to continue. Yes. What do I do?
The first thing is see if you can talk. Communication. If you're not getting the desired response, try and be suggestive. Leave notes, like I said, send messages. If that doesn't work, then find a third party that both of you will listen to. The sad part is that there are some people who never want to have a third party interaction, and then that becomes a bigger challenge. Yeah. So where the person is willing, find a third party, because sometimes when you keep saying it, or you have been showing it and you feel fatigued, when somebody else says it to the two of you in a different interaction, sometimes the person begins to realize, oh, it's not just you who is being some way or who is being too demanding. You always touchy. You always want me to tell you I love you and what. So when that person comes in, it helps. Yeah. And the scenario that is not possible, you just have to endure and pray. Prayer also changes things.
But then also there's the challenge of succumbing to what takes the box of the other partner.
Yes.
So perhaps I have to do this to appear or come across as romantic, but then it's also to my own detriment.
Yes.
How do I go about that?
You know, love and marriage and relationships make us vulnerable. And until you are willing to serve, sacrifice, and give, and be quite selfless, you don't have any meaningful relationship. Yeah. There's no true meaningful relationship that is based on selfishness. So as you're ticking his or her boxes so that you can have a connected romantic relationship, you would find joy in yourself. Because when your spouse is happy and you're able to connect with him or her better, it makes you happy. But when you think that, no, you've drawn your line, I'm doing 50%, and if he doesn't meet me that way, or she does not mean that way, it's done, the relationship will be frustrated. In love, you don't give 20% or 80%, you give your all. And if your all yields the desired result, you hope that your partner will also reciprocate, and then that will make it mutually beneficial to the two of you. So you don't have to give up, you have to just be encouraged. And then keep learning, keep asking, and then keep varying. Sometimes what you think they like is not what they like. And like I spoke about the 5 love languages, maybe you are the kind who likes receiving gifts. So you also assume that your spouse likes receiving gifts, and you're always bringing them gifts. And then they say, well, thank you, and they put it down. But maybe theirs is just quality time. All they want is for you to close early from work, come and sit by them, and then say, how's your day been? And that for them will be a whole romantic experience. But for you, it's the gift. So you come and you're buying, oh, I'll give you a car. And you're taking, oh, you went for holidays. I bought a business class ticket for instead of coach ticket. Then you are wondering, she's not appreciating me. Because there's a disconnect. You are not able to appreciate what the love language of your spouse in this particular situation is.
But at what point we draw the lines so that it doesn't look like a competition between the two partners? That because I'm giving or I'm doing or showing, I need to receive same.
You see, love gifts. And sadly, we are a product of our nature and our nurturing. So some people have grown up in an environment where without being aware, they are very competitive. And they are very aggressive. And they are very, focused on what they want to do. So when you are the object of their love, they want to be all and do all. And sometimes rather than completing or complimenting you, they compete with you. And that is not a helpful posture to have. So it's always good for one to evaluate himself or herself. And I always say that first do your personal evaluation, and then after find other people who know you truly and can sincerely tell you the kind of person you are. When they tell you, look, you are very competitive, you are manipulative. Because some people are. You are somebody who always is trying to get advantage of people. So even your spouse, you may do. So if you get that kind of feedback, then now you need to take the necessary steps to unlearn those negative trends and then learn positive traits. You get me? So basically, that is what I would say, that you must be conscious that you are complementing each other and completing each other, not competing. But some have that natural tendency, and so they may find themselves doing that. So it's good to take stock and then manage the dynamic that comes with it.
Let's look at the impact of experiences from past relationships and then what's the kind of weight they bring to bear on current relationships. Say you dated an overly romantic person and then you move into a new relationship and the person is not same as the previous one. How do you deal with that?
That being said, you can't eat your cake and have it.
Yeah, that's true.
So once you've moved on from A and you're with B, you must know who B is. And then you must manage your expectations. And then you must be on the journey of discovering, the journey of convergence, so that how you express and how the other party expresses would get better as you go along. Because definitely you would notice the difference. But that other person may also have certain qualities that may be more inclined to being better than what you were in some aspect. So you must manage what you have and then manage your expectations so that you don't get overly frustrated or disappointed. And then communicate fairly and sincerely, and then mutually develop a very healthy connectedness that is balanced, that will be mutually beneficial.
Now finally, let's look at the changes and then the adaptations we have to make. Now we are not in normal times. Say previously what rocked both our boats were the outings. Now we can't do that anymore. Let's look at this vis-a-vis the raising of the children and then keeping that spark plug still hot and alive.
So what I'll say is that first you must appreciate the reality. You can't go everywhere like you used to. You can't do all the outdoor things like you used to. But then the question is, sit down and think, what can we do? How can we get the children involved in what we do? And then also, for some people, the children being home is a burden. You need to realign yourself on that. See the children being home as a blessing. And then see that as an opportunity to bond like you never have done before. Because you see, most of us are not doing what we should do. So work has been the escape valve. But now that that valve has been closed or is partly open, like now we feel strangulated. So begin to realign in your thinking and in your posturing. And then draw every member of the family in. Then the next thing is find out, like I've already said, some creative ways that you can have these romantic expressions. You can have your own dinner. You can order the food. It comes in and you have it together. You can drive, buy the food, sit somewhere in your vehicle and eat. And then you can go for a stroll, you can do some walks together. These are all things that you can do even at this posture. And don't just do it alone as a couple. Bring the children in for some, have fun games and stuff. But when that happens, it creates a very healthy and positive atmosphere. So that when you are even being close and the two of you say, okay, this is daddy and mommy time, allow us. The children would have had this, so they don't have any cause to keep nudging in or trying to disrupt what you are doing. But if it's all just mommy and daddy, and the children will have a mindset that mommy and daddy care only about themselves and don't care about us.
And that's when they begin to compete for space and time.
And then they want to get into your things.
Awesome conversation, very interesting there. Grateful. Michael Mensah, a Famlife advocate, a counselor, and also a panelist on Famlife on Citi 97.3 FM, which is on every Saturday morning. Amazing stuff there. I have enjoyed it. I have learned a lot. I hope you have also enjoyed and learned as much as I have back at home. This is still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Hi there. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.